All right, Mr. Fairbanks, we all had nice things to say about you a bit earlier. You can watch the replay. People say I have a photographic memory. Let's check this out. I complimented you on your dual employment at your age. I complimented you on your ability and courage to seek an appointment to a military academy. I reminded you that our past couple of school board student reps have found a way to be inclusive district-wide to where the interests of the Meadowlark and High Desert students, not only what they do in terms of their function, but their interests and maybe even their political motivations of the kindergartners would be encapsulated in your first report to the board. There will be some times, I'm going to speak for myself, I'm 60 years old, I've had a ton of kids, but I've never been able to keep in touch with any of them on the same page. So when we come to making decisions that affect kids your age, don't be surprised when we call on you to seek your advice and your opinion, because you'll bring relevance to what we do. Once I am done with my comments, if you're still awake and it's not tomorrow, I'm going to call upon you to say hi to your public that you will be serving this school year. I'll give you my comments. It's my expectation that a board president sometimes will say the things that need to be said. They don't do me any good to say them most of the time, and you all know that. But anyway, I'm going to dive into an empty pool, as I always do. I do have the luxury in my professional life of each morning driving into a city that has the highest density of flagship locations of the finest retailers in the world. I know what high service level expectations are, and I certainly know what entitlement is. We also service residents and business locations with some of the highest tax rates in the world, and we have suffered some debilitating effects on this COVID thing on the retail market. We're expected to provide diversity in service, different types of services at different frequencies that fluctuate. Each morning I begin a division-wide meeting that is related to COVID and how our service levels are impacted and how our customers see those impacts. I will tell you this, I'm not accustomed to staff meetings in which people are paid to undermine the motives or the progress or the market share of the organization. So, my most recent evaluation at work had my supervisor saying, quote, "Ken does not suffer fools well." I'm still trying to figure out what that means. But a lot of things come up in these meetings, and remember that the terms of my employment allow my children to attend BHUSD, so all of my kids could have gone to Beverly Hills schools. They come here. And what's interesting is there are staff members in the room that will talk about schools and their challenges of getting kids to school and what online learning looks like in their home. And since they know I sit on a school board, every once in a while they will actually call on me for advice, which is, some of you may find that amusing. But what I do tell people is this. We have a unique ability where I think our brand has always been that our teachers are very committed to the kids in this district. There is no place to hide in this district. You know the parents, you know the families, and you have a personal stake in producing students like Mr. Fairbanks, for example. One of the comments that I thought was very funny coming from my director who has kids in a school district over there, one of the great school districts, I guess, is that she found it terrible that some kid was just on the video or in the Zoom meeting disrupting the class, making rude comments to the teachers. And I had to tell this person, look, this kid does this every day in class when he's there live. The teacher deals with it. This is what teachers do. These kids disrupt learning environments for the other kids and whatever. And now for the first time, this is all being recorded so a parent can see what they've actually raised and how disruptive that child is. And I find that beneficial in one way or another. here's what I will say. When I need a good laugh, I sometimes look at social media and see what people are saying there. Here's my experience. I went to Meadowlark school yesterday. We were well received. The materials we needed, including the supports we need for my child, were in place. They were clean. I hear horror stories about Chromebooks being distributed that have not been turned off and have not been wiped clean. Everything that my child needs, and she has an IEP, so she has a set of demands and supports, they were all in place. When I signed onto the computer, it didn't work. Excuse me, but Acton is not the Silicon Valley of internet reception, so there are going to be some problems, but there were people calling and working through it till we finally got things on the phone. Now, I will tell you this. Teachers are people. We're all people. There are faces missing from our enrollment yesterday, and we don't know what happened to some of those people. Maybe they had to move in with a parent. Maybe there's a job that has been lost or something. There's a great deal of pressure going on among the general public when it comes to the economy, employment, and I see the effects of that at the top end of the retail market where I work, where you would never imagine this would happen. So in addition to trying to change the way they teach and reach kids, our students are exposed to something new. I'm glad they know computers. They're better prepared than the adults. But teachers, you're dealing with people who have their lives impacted on so many different levels, and you're patient with them, and it's almost as if you're supposed to be insulated from those things yourself, and I know you're not. So here's what I want you to go to bed tonight thinking about. Regardless of what anyone says about what was done or not done, think about that kid or those kids or that parent that you helped today, that you made a positive impact upon, whether it's in what you said or how you took some time or said something in the chat room that prompted some kid along, or that extra phone call you made after your hours were over. And I want you to think about that, and I want you to focus on that, and I want you to focus on that tomorrow, because that's really what makes this district what it is. We are what we are. That's our brand, and I'm so thankful that that is your focus. And with that, a heartfelt thank you to all of you who work for this district and are pulling this off, because there's a lot of people out there who aren't, and I'm very proud of you. And Kelly, board, you'll hear my sentiments reflected in my vote. Called to question on accepting the resignation of Tess Toledo, principal of Meadowlark School. Board 4-0. Board President Tess, on behalf of the board, understand what I'm about to do here. It's rare and it's only reserved for the finest employees. I vote no on accepting the resignation of Tess Toledo. Thank you, board.